You're watching MBC.
Good night and welcome to another episode of Police Insight. I am your host, Sergeant Zachary Hippolyte of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. I'd like to say good night to our Police Commissioner, Mr. Milton Daisy. Good night to you, sir. Our deputies, good night to you. Mr. Shalry, how you doing? Ms. Pelius, how are you? Good night to you. Mr. Nicholas, Mr. O'Brien, good night to you. Miss Silly, Dr. Mashama Silly, good night to you. All gazetted officers, inspectors, sergeants, corporals, constables, both senior and junior, good night to you. Special police constables, special reserve police officers, city police, how are you doing? Good night to you. Ex-police officers, thank you for your service to country. Good night to you. All security officers around the island, whether you are giving service to a public or private entity, good night to you. Our brothers and sisters in law enforcement, Bodley Correctional Facility, Customs, Fire Service Department, and also the Port Police, I'd like to say good night to you. So we're going to have a very interesting show tonight. Tonight, we have two distinguished Martins in studio. And you must be wondering what you're talking about, Sergeant Zachary. Two distinguished Martins in studio. This Sunday is Father's Day. So right now I want you to tell a friend that you got to get fathers, mothers, everybody in front of your television, because we're live on NBC. And we're going to be talking about everything fatherhood. My guests tonight, they want to start up a movement. They want to start up a center because males, need the support. So this is what we're going to be discussing. But before I introduce my distinguished guest, you know already, we have some viewers, individuals who are always supporting the show. We want to big them up. And such an individual is, and Shane, I think we got a pick. We have Francisca Wilson, who's celebrating her birthday as we speak. Francisca Wilson, I call you Francesca, my friend. Francisca Wilson from Kaimaje. I'd like to wish you a happy birthday, happy 31st. Enjoy it, my friend. Enjoy it to the fullest. I wish you a lot of wealth and better health. So enjoy your birthday. Francisca Wilson of Kaimaje Moshi, employee of Bedford Corner. And if those of you who've never heard of Bedford Corner, they used to be in Grizzly. Right now they're in the Kaimaje Gap leading to the Bosiju Stadium. You got to check them out. Nice food, nice atmosphere. They're just amazing. So happy birthday, Francisca. Also, we have a little bit of I would say a competition going on leading to Father's Day. NBC Television has decided to give awards throughout the different talk shows, to deserving fathers. So for Police Insight, we have 4 police officers who are currently vying for that all your votes. So you could go on the NBC Television website on Facebook, go on their website, and you will get the different awards, and you could vote for different individuals just by clicking on the picture. And we have we have our nominees. We have pictures of the nominees. Shane, we have Sergeant Small, we have Officer Healy, we have Officer Gustav, Kirjun Gustav, and Inspector Morgan. So these are our officers there posing with their, should I say, the result of procreation. Can I say that? So we have our officers. People, go log on to the NBC website. Vote for your favorite picture. Vote for your favorite officer. Hopefully by Friday or Saturday, we should be tallying the votes. And whoever has the most votes will be getting an amazing prize. So I know for sure this is going to be a very excellent event. Good night to you, Angela Hippolyte, Sabina Charles, Glenn Prudent. How you doing, my buddy? Good night to you. So, tomorrow is Angela, your son's birthday tomorrow. Okay, well, I'd like to wish your son's happy birthday. If you could just send me his name, we're going to give him a little shout out. So without further ado, let's get into it. Tell a friend to tell a friend that Police Insight is on. I am now going to introduce my distinguished Martins. So, to my close right, nearest to me, is Mr. Martin Weeks. And to my furthest right is Mr. Martin James. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, sirs, welcome to Police Insight. Mr. Martin Weeks, how are you doing, sir? You good? Mr. Martin James.
Wonderful, thank you.
Distinguished Martins. Did you like that? Was that okay?
Very humble, very humble. Sounds good. Sounds good.
Sounds good.
I didn't know you were talking about.
First of all, Mr. Martin Weeks, we're going to start with you. Could you tell St. Lucia a little bit about yourself?
Oh?
Yeah.
Well, probably the reason I'm here is because I'm a father. Maybe I can start there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can start there. I'm a father, and well, I've been very interested in developing men's issues for a while now. And I must say it has been very challenging for those of us who have, both from the, the religious side and also the secular side, trying to change lives, change the lives of men, improve the lives of the men we come in contact with, and so. And when Martin and the guys told me they were onto a new initiative, I jumped on it, and I'm happy that I came on board, because we're going to try again once more to see how we can, be more successful in developing our men. You have so many rumors, and generally the things you hear about men are not necessarily the best.
Interesting.
Yes, there may be good reasons for that, but I think one of the aims we have is to bring it across in a different light. There are very, very good things that men do. They are very, very good men. They are men who are finding it difficult and challenging, yet still, overcoming these to provide for their children and their family and make useful contribution to our society and our country. So I'm happy to be in another initiative, another effort that's looking at some of these goals.
Excellent. Right. The other Martin, distinguished Martin, Mr. James. Tell St. Lucia a little bit about yourself, as if like most of St. Lucia don't know you already, but go ahead.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sergeant Hippolyte.
Yes.
Well, my name is, my registered name in St. Lucia is Martin James, and I am currently a Sergeant of Police as well. And happy to be here in my capacity as a father. I've been a father for 19 years now, which is yeah, I mean, it's a milestone. So I first off want to say good night, everybody, and greetings to everybody, all especially my wife and my 3 children, and Marla in particular, who made me a father, because, and my wife, Lisa James, and Marla, Layla, and Melody, my girls. Good. I'm Martin James. I told you I'm a police officer. I'm also a musician, hail from the police band. Again, greetings to the band. We'll be celebrating 74 years on Friday, on the 18th, and that itself is, a milestone, and we are indeed grateful for that journey. Police, musician.
Former president of the
Police Welfare Association, yes.
Yes.
And very vocal individual and concerned, you know, I mean, I take on everybody issues, you know, things of that nature for the better. And I'm also, you know, here in my capacity as being a part of this men's movement and wanted to do it. I mean, many years back, you know, I sat, you know, in forums with this distinguished gentleman, Martin Weeks, you know, and many other persons and everything. And I'm so, you know, happy and honored to be in the presence of these gentlemen and who are, I mean, champion in the cause of not just men, but just St. Lucia, you know, I mean, these are good people, and they are very, you know, it's very heartening to emulate, you know, persons like that and to be in the presence and now working with them as a collective, you know, to take men, you know, issues and try to improve spiritually, mentally, psychologically, and all the earlies, you know, improve, you know, what's happening with men in our society and our St. Lucia humanity. So I'm just grateful to be here. Thank you, humble servant.
Okay, gentlemen, you're here to promote a men's movement, a men's center or association. Tell us exactly what that is. How did it all start? Who came up with this idea? Tell us about this.
Okay, well, if we're talking about the recent one, you know, I came up and I kind of reinitiated, you know, and because there's always been a goal of mine, an idea, you know, I mean, that passion to work and to represent and to see the affairs. And that is why, like I said, you know, in the past, you know, I've sat with persons who have championed the cause. And it became dormant for one reason or the other, but that doesn't mean it died out altogether, you know. So I just felt it necessary to just jolt it and come back with this thing. And then as soon as I called on Mr. Weeks and called on, you know, quite some other persons who are in it, and everybody just say, hey, let us go with this thing. So where we're at right now, you know, you must an NGO, and to be an NGO, and I could very well understand why the government or the powers that be have so many not restrictions but processes to ensure that you meet, you know, process, because you don't want anybody coming into an NGO and for profit, if you want to put it that way, you know, and so we are in the process of registering. We met, and the main thing in registering is have a constitution. So right now we have a lawyer on board. I mean, persons who are pro bonos as well, you know, assisting, and that is where we're at for us to now register. But things has kind of traveled on a snail of sorts because of the whole pandemic, COVID, and all those issues that we are faced with there. But we are here, and we are approaching Father's Day, and we're going to discuss, you know, some of the issues, what we really want to see improve, what we want to do for men, especially from the spiritual side of things. Yes.
Mr. Weeks, you have been a champion of men's issues and discussions and stuff like that. What would you say has been the challenge or the difficulty in actually seeing the manifestation of an actual men's group or men's center taking taking care of the issues of men or championing the issues of men?
Thank you, Zach, for that question. It's a difficult one to answer, because there aren't, you know, just one or two, you know, elements that prevent, you know, the forward movement. But I think the main one I can, you know, and I think is probably what we will have to focus on, is we men ourselves. We men ourselves.
Okay.
Us men.
Yeah, us men. Yes.
You know, we have to be more motivated to see it happen. We cannot be lukewarm towards, because time is running out on us for sure, I know. You know, I was listening to Catherine Seelys last night, yes. And, you know, it struck me that this is where we should be aiming for, that kind of thing, but everything should be towards men and not necessarily towards women, as was the case, you know, listening to Catherine, you know, and I think that is a motivation for us. In other words, if women can do it that way, you know, we also have men who are vulnerable. We also have men who are finding it difficult to make ends meet. We also have men who are finding serious issues with their emotional intelligence, decision making, the, needing things like anger management and so, I think one of the mistakes we made was we focused too much on a physical center.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know why, that conceptualization came in and took, the, forefront of everything. So, in other words, what may have happened to us is that if we didn't have a center, then it didn't seem like anything can happen, a physical center. But all how I remember trying to say, no, what we need is a movement, and this is what we were discussing. We need a movement, and we need people to have access, to people. Men have access to men, and even women too, that kind of a way. So that is the kind of thing I think the focus must be. But the same issues from 10, 15 years ago are still there, and some of them are even graver than they were, in that time. But I think there should be less focus on a physical center. It could be anywhere, but it's just that people must have access. Men and young men must have access to those skills, those resources, those, the benefits that they need to take them from one level of living to another and improve their ability to reach out to their own families, and by extension, the development of the community and the society.
Gentlemen, what are some of the issues confronting men? Why is it necessary that we should start a movement to empower and support men?
If I may jump in, what I will tell you, first off, as men, and he said we men, and if you look at the dual side, we men and your partner, we men, we need to synchronize our efforts, and if the man takes his rightful place within the system, it will definitely fall in line.
Someone say they have. Men have always taken their rightful place.
I don't
what
think
are they
so.
missing?
I don't think so, because if you want to just zone into the family, with a lot of the issues that affects the society is as a result of a breakdown of the family structure. The breakdown of the family. A lot of it stems from the breakdown of the family structure, and then comes in. You have the education system. You have laws that need amendment or even to get rid of altogether. Because you have laws that actually stigmatizing men and stigmatizing even women or what have you. So that's why we want gender. We want to speak about the gender issues and what have you, as opposed to men and women. So if we could sync the gender issues, then now we as men could treat with the men issues and thinking. But they have a lot of issues, like even toxic masculinity is something that we must discuss at some point. We must talk about that, because what pink are for girls, blue are for boys.
That's why that's what we've always known.
And we've known that and for ancient times. But it has caused a lot of issues in our societies. It has caused a lot of issues. And I'm of the strong conviction that we need to sit as a people and look at some of those issues. What we've accepted as a people that has failed us. We're not going to, just undo everything, but sift it. You have to periodically check to see what's working and what's not working. We cannot just see, and there are a lot of laws. If you look at even laws like the juvenile, dealing with juveniles, juvenile males and everything, we start from there, and we are failing our society when we fall short of dealing with those things at the tender age. Recently there was the repeal of the child what was the Child Act?
There's certain sections of the Child and Young Persons Act that was
it was repealed. No, the Child and Young Persons Act was actually repealed. And then they brought in the young and the young, or the juvenile young persons juvenile, because what really lent itself to that, and in all fairness to the powers that be, what lent itself to that was there was a young lady that stabbed, or that was sentenced for I think the stabbing of a young man somewhere in the north, and then she was sent to prison. But then you didn't have a physical space to house that individual as a juvenile, and you have to treat them as a juvenile up till age 18, right? You must treat them as juvenile. Then you had another young man, you know, they had to and they say they take him to the boys' training, and you remember they had a lot of talk about that. But then we are signatories to all those treaties and everything, and we had to sign on to that convention or that and to introduce that law. But in introducing that law speaks to the processes, how you deal with the juveniles and how you deal with it.
Yes.
And it got rid of the actual offenses against young persons and everything, like exposure, if you expose a child to, you know, things and what have you. So, and there was a lack of proper consultation, in my opinion, that had they consulted, then we could have merged the two pieces of legislation as opposed to repeal one and then do the other. So we have those little things that we have to deal with as a people. Now with that, now you have issues. You must amend those laws and treat it, you know, and you must consult. So in our consultation, especially, we want to reach out to men musically, spiritually, most of all spiritually, because we are almost like a society. I think we are a very religious society, as opposed to being a spiritual. That's Martin James speaking there. So I mean, don't hold me to that. But I'm of that conviction.
Mr. Weeks, you wish to add on to the question? Issues? What are some of the issues facing men?
Well, you see, again, men's issues vary, and you know, listening to Martin, the areas are so broad. You know, you have even at the age, the different age levels. You know, I personally feel that, and I'm sure research will indicate that too many issues with how men start, you know, from in the adolescent, you know, from the time they were, you know, young kids into their adolescent stages, and then young adults, and some of them never recover from that. You know, they're so badly wounded, for want of a better word, you know, and they are not. Our society, our country does not have the support systems
for men
that will reverse that for men, you know. And we can play it down as much as we want. And Martin made the point about, well, family structure has changed, you know, you really cannot always expect to get a nuclear family again. But essentially the role of the man, the role of the father should have continued to be the same, the spiritual head of the family, no matter what the family was, you know. But we have had so many difficulties in either men living it or others allowing men to live it or fulfill it, that these have created a whole bunch of issues for themselves, and men feel aggravated, the men feel disappointed that they cannot be allowed to be, you know, the kind of spiritual head that they can be. Some of them don't want to, some of them cannot, you know. So the issues are multifaceted, but I think they start very early in the life of a young man, you know, a young male. And that's where we have to start. We have to start, you know, from, I wouldn't say as low as a kindergarten, but we have to be there so they can, firstly we have to protect them, you know, from abuse and so as they grow up, and then we have to form them into what we would like to see, you know, make a societal change in the way they handle their lives and the gifts that they get, because the children that they get are gifts from God, you know. And if they don't see it in that spiritual realm, chances are we just spinning top in mud, you know, that kind of a way, like Martin was saying.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, what is the plan? How is your movement? Right. And I don't know how many of the members are there. What is the plan? How are you going to cause some enthusiasm in men, or most men in St. Lucia, to understand what you're trying to do, how you're trying to support them? Moving forward, what do you intend to do to get men to realize that we can do much better? Right.
Zach, first off, like I said, we need a proper structure in place, you know, and this is where we're going in terms of having a proper constitution. And as I say constitution, we are we are very close to Catherine Sillis and her movement and all the other, movements within the country. We have so many other men's movement that have been set up long before. So our intention is to really, synchronize our efforts. We're not
synchronize.
Yes, right. Synchronize.
Bring everyone together.
Right. Bring us together.
Which is a major flaw.
Right, which is one of the major flaws. Because we all protecting our own niche, we protect our own turf, and in so doing, we're just creating a wider space, a big crack between, and it becomes too wide a space. So our intention is to formalize the structure. We are on that route. We have so many persons behind the scenes, and we have an initial group of individuals we are so grateful for. We are very grateful, but we have so many persons who have reached out. Funding is a major barrier, to doing a lot of things, but we have international friends. We have some international friends who are willing to assist and willing to partner with us in the effort. We have friends, St. Lucians and persons abroad who are willing to help the country. And they have some money. And they're willing to assist, but they will not just throw money at you. You need to be proper structured. And so we are in the process of that. And so use the mediums, the social media, use those things. We are to really reach out to people. One of the major things that we really wanted to do, and we would have been on the road already, is those town hall meetings. But with the pandemic and everything, that's one of the hindrances, one of those things that have slowed us down, but not stopped us, So the intention is to really reach out, use every medium that we have to reach out. Look, we are right here, and we are grateful to you and MBC. That's one of the stepping stones to reaching out to people and reaching out to the men.
Now, earlier on, there were some inferences made reference to a religious theme, try and get men back to understand the importance they role when you look at what the Bible ordains. What I'd like to ask you, and that's putting you guys in the spot, is your movement aimed at all men? Because we do have a section of society where our men could be termed part of the LGBTIQ community.
Of course.
Is your organization going to incorporate them or shun them?
No. Okay, first off, I'm going to tell you from the onset, there's no discrimination whatsoever. And if anybody that's going to be party to what we are doing will be from a discriminatory standpoint, I will disassociate myself with you from the onset. Because at the end of the day, we are human beings. We treat with each other. We have to understand each other. And a lot of issues that persons have in the adult stage stems from, a tender age. What we will do is you need to have ideals, you need to have core values and maintain those core values. At the end of the day, you will not, somebody's right is their right, and we have inalienable rights, you understand? You have to treat everybody with that. So there will be no discrimination, but at the end of the day, we will have a clear understanding of what we're about and everything, you understand? So in due time, it will definitely come out, but we want to reach out to the society, but we want to point on marginalized men, persons who are going through things, boys, men in particular. But we will not discriminate. Mr. Wicks will join on.
Right. Thank you, Martin, for that. But Zachary, what is important, and I think that's probably one of those things we are lacking in any of the initial, is the public awareness. We must get men to understand that there is help out there, and you can access it. And I think this is what the movement is about. So we have to, through one of the medium, like Martin was saying, was the town hall meetings, but there are many other ways we could do it. We could do that. But the important thing is for them to be able to come to the conclusion that instead of doing a deviant behavior, I can now go to Sergeant Zachary, and this is, the options I have dealing with. We want people to know that that is possible, that is available, You know, so that kind of awareness must be built even before we do all of the other things. And the other thing too is that, which is another area we might have had a little bit of, is that we must get men who are capable of assisting to get on board.
That's right.
You know, it's not only men, but men and women.
Yeah,
you know, people who have the skills, people who care about other men, people who care about helping, you know, either spiritually, physically, monetarily, whatever, to get on board and see that they can, you know, make a valiant effort to change the society for the better, you know, and bring our men to where they really should be, you know, in the society. Yeah.
Right. I just want to just jump on again and
Stop
say,
jumping on. Huh?
yeah, jump on. I have a song called Jump On, you know. Okay. We have a bit of hypocrisy in our system that is enshrined in law, enshrined in recruitment, enshrined in a lot of things. And I mean, I'm just speaking straight. To get a job, we have some discriminatory entry requirements. For a lot of persons, a lot of men in particular, we have the Rastafarian. The Rastafarian can't get any job, in as much as we've said we are modern society and what have you. They cannot get any job, they cannot enter the police force. You understand? No. I'm saying they have a lot, but that's just what it is. Because we are patterned from a colonial day, and then we are stuck in that zone. We now have to understand we must be all-encompassing. We must understand persons, and we take value individuals. They have schools. You have to cut your little boy hair to go to school.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know, and it might be their religious, you know, belief and what have you. So these things, you know, we have to look at those things, you know. We have to really look at those things. Yeah, and what the effect is, and all the time it has been instituted. What are the effects? What are the results of a lot of those things? Is it really, you know, I mean, persons, you know, you have to look at those things. There are things that are just happening, that trending, and it's affecting us. One of the biggest things for men and my heart aches me, partner, alcohol killing our society, brother.
Yeah.
Our alcohol killing our men.
The majority of the consumers are men.
Yeah. And then when you pass, they have to go home.
Catch up with us.
I realize.
Catch up, brother.
The women are trying
Oh, brother, I'm serious. You know.
Yeah.
And it's really killing our society. You know, I heard. I mean, during the lockdown, free up the rum, you know, and everything.
Yeah.
It was just like a campaign about the rum and the rum and the
free up
rum.
the rum, yeah.
And you know, nobody looks at a lot of the guys who just sit want to cool out on the block or cool out drinking and doing them things. They have issues at home. They have issues. Some of them are nowhere to stay. You know, they're from young, so they have a lot of issues we need to talk about, brother.
You know, gentlemen, this afternoon, the community relations branch that I'm in charge of, we went to a particular school to give a lecture on sexual offenses,
Right.
and also gangs, and it was amazing to get the experience that when we reached on the offense of indecent assault, because we were lecturing to a group of boys from Freeze. The boys were of the assumption that if they were to touch a female, let's say on the buttock, on the breast, you know what I'm saying, that they would get into trouble. But they had no idea that they could have get some assistance or report a female for doing the same thing to them. And what was amazing is that they said, sir, but you know, the girls just come and just touch us up the same way. But I guess there's nothing that could be done for us. Is your organization, does the organization intend on reaching that level, the education, the schools? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, but that's the kind of awareness and education we're speaking about, you know. And I think what must be probably the first thing in our mandate is to get people to understand those issues, you know, get them to understand from, and that's what I was saying about the different ages, you know, there are certain areas, and I don't want to miss the point about the alcohol Martin was making, you know. But the sorrowful thing about this alcohol thing is the denial, you know. A lot of our solution men and women too, who think that they are in control are not in control of the use of alcohol. You see, because they can still run their job, they can still, the major things of life are not seriously impeded. They think, well, they're okay. But what level of, emotional intelligence you bring into your life? Every time you take a drink, you do something that's way out, So the actual social drinking itself is an issue, Because if you drink socially every afternoon from 4 to 7, as soon as you leave work, you're in a rum shop and you're going back to work. But the chances are, could you not have been doing something more beneficial to you and your family between those 7 or 8 hours that you spend in drinking? That is a crucial thing.
Right.
So you're not an alcoholic, but you are not living life to the fullest because you are being impeded by the use of the social alcohol drinking. And we find it all over the place. If you pass anywhere, you see men drinking all the time and some of them deserve the right. They say it,
Yes.
Not have I wed.
Not have I wed.
Exactly. So we even make ourselves, look good doing it. But chances are it's preventing us from, self-development and also, making a better contribution to, nobody's saying you need your little recreation, but it should not be 4 or 5 hours, taking more, of your productive time. And also you are moving towards, I know fellas who have died from alcohol, and that's how it started, They started just having a drink on afternoons and so on. And then they start doing it at lunchtime. And then they start doing it. And then what happens? They can't get away from it. They leave their work and go and drink. Well, the policeman.
Right. Yeah. I just
before we take a break.
Right. The other thing is, Zach, to answer the question, I mean, I think Mr. Weeks have well articulated very well in terms of the education. That's one of it. Yeah. That is a mandate. That is a mandate. Yeah. And we definitely have issues with even some of the, like I was saying about some of the laws. You know what I'm saying? These are not the critical things. You have to shape the mind of your people, so the outlook, when you shape the mind, they will think of their outlook and what have you, but the outlook cannot be the primary thing and the focus have to be your mind, how elevated it is and how wise you are in terms of opening your eyes. Right. And then the alcohol, well, you're not a social drinker anymore if you're drinking every afternoon, that's just the term social drinker. You're in a social place, but you're not social anymore.
Yes.
And even the alcoholics, that itself is a problem. And let us get to the core of the issues. Let us discuss. Let's bring the minds together. Let us discuss and see how best we could treat with those things. And when you do that, you have a better society. And that would definitely be one of our fundamentals.
Not to trip in, but one of the things, and we kind of made sure we pointed out very early in some of our early meetings, is that we don't intend to do anything that anybody else is already doing, and sometimes doing better than us.
Right.
Like for instance, you just mentioned so it's a matter of us, working
partnering
with
and
right?
synchronizing.
Because too much of it is we are the ones responsible.
Yes.
Nah,
we identify partners along the way, and we use their skills and to get to the objectives.
Right. And just before your break, we our group is all encompassing, in terms of in keeping with that same thing, because we have religious groups. Yeah. We have a religious group. Okay. We have I don't know what they use the word secular. I'm saying
yes.
I don't know. I mean, everybody just one for me. We are partnering with just about everybody because we have one goal, and that is to uplift, especially the men, but our society.
Thank you. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, really, really interesting conversation. And if you're missing it, or if you're just joining, you need to stay tuned. We're going to take a little break. When we come back, we're going to have a special performance by Mr. Martin James. We're going to open up the lines and we're going to continue this excellent conversation. Stay tuned to Police Insight.
commercial success with NBC TV and NBC Social. Don't look back. Invest in your advertising. Reach your target audience at peak times and off-peak times. We deliver strategically placed advertising spots at the most competitive rates. Also ask about our production services, which include television ad production, jingles, and documentaries designed to suit your business needs. We also deliver classified ads designed for land sales, job opportunities, and more. Advertise with NBC TV and NBC Social.
McDowell's Supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the daily recommended intake of essential vitamins, minerals, and other important nutrients necessary for optimal health. Naturally, we carry an array of health and wellness supplements. McDowell's Immune Booster enhances your body's defense to fight colds and flu, boosts your immune system, prevents viruses and other airborne diseases. McDowell's Colon Cleanser prevents constipation, helps in removing toxins from the colon, detoxifies the body, and regulates your bowel movements. McDowell's Prostate Health prevent the enlargement of the prostate, improve urinary flow, and reduce frequent urination, especially at night. Moringa oleifera capsules are rich in minerals like calcium, potassium, zinc, magnesium, iron, and copper, vitamins like beta-carotene of vitamin A, vitamin B such as folic acid, vitamin C, D, and E. McDowell's Potassium Complex, used for treating and preventing low potassium levels, high blood pressure, preventing stroke, and aid in weight loss. McDowell's Triple Magnesium relaxes the muscles, relieves cramps and helps to control high blood pressure, improves sleep, and can calm the nerves. Magnesium is very important for the normal functioning of cells, nerves, muscles, bones, and the heart. McDowell's Ginger Turmeric helps to relieve pain, decrease nausea and enhance the immune function to help protect against illness and infection. Ginger turmeric has powerful anti-inflammatory properties and improves your circulation. Don't hold health back. Let health strike back. McDowell's, the better way to start your health. Visit Health Service Center, John Compton Highway, call 453-6417. Let your wellness be our stress.
Aging gracefully is the hope for everyone. But when you age prematurely, most people think that something is wrong with you. The natural enzymes and building blocks in your skin start to deplete, so fine or deep lines and wrinkles appear, making you look much older than you really are. At Dermaclinic, we can help repair your skin and change the way you look in minutes. These treatments will make you look younger. At Dermaclinic, we treat all kinds of skin problems, such as facial lines, dark circles around the eyes, crow's feet, and frown lines, using all-natural hyaluronic acid filler. So maintain and improve your facial appearance. For more information, call 453-6417 or 485-9818.
Madras. Hey. Free second there. Boom. I like it. Crow. Ready?
Pas ni street party ces jours ça là. Pas ni l'argent encore. Si nous toutes prenons responsabilité et faire ça nous ni pour faire. Bagay la kay marcher et nous tout kay manger. En nous tirer la peine nous kay danser encore.
Wear a mask. Wash your hands and maintain a 6-feet distance. If we keep St. Lucia safe, we can keep our economy running.
You're watching MBC.
Welcome back to Police Insight. Your host here, Sergeant Zachary Hippolyte of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. In studio with me, distinguished Martins, Mr. Martin Weeks and Mr. Martin James. Just before we continue the convo, you know, after the first break, I always give the shout outs of those of you who are following on the texting platforms. Stephen Hilaire, good night to you. Nadia Theona Joseph, Kidron Gustav, Lisa C. Jawahi, Madam Senator, good night to you. Mr. Kenson Kazumi, good night to you. Who else we are there? Victor C. Anthony, always logged in from Brooklyn, New York. Good night to you. Angela Hippolyte, Chams Gaspard, good night to you. Yulin Jabatis, Ivy Mitchell, oh, the usuals are always there. Peggy Edward Daisy, Mrs. Daisy, good night to you. Heather Alfred. And I also like to say good night to Mr. Janice Rodney Hippolyte of the UK. Logged in. Tomorrow is your birthday. I'd like to say good night to you, sir, and happy birthday to you. Happy birthday in advance to Janice Rodney Hippolyte of the UK. So let's continue this excellent conversation. We'll be opening up the lines very soon, but we're going to have a special performance by Mr. Martin James. Take it away.
It's an original tune called We Will Rise Again, and it speaks to, you know, I mean, a lot of things as we synchronize our efforts to rise again. We will rise again, no matter what we've been through. And we will rise, and we will rise, and we shall rise again. One more time, and we will rise again. No matter what we've been through, and we will rise, and we will rise, and we shall rise again. And I write, the love within our hearts is all we need to start. Love really conquers all, so we can't remain apart. I know sometimes we just don't get along, oh yeah, but still we all must live as one. The time is now, we all must love each other, some way, somehow. Yes, we are in this together. So guess what? Let me be the shoulder we will lean upon. Oh, you can't go wrong. We shall rise again. And we all sing, and we will rise again. Yeah, no matter what we've been through.
Oh, yes.
And we will rise again. We will rise, and we shall rise again. Just one more time, and we will rise again. Oh yeah, no matter what we've been through, we will rise. We will rise, and we shall rise again. That's right.
Yeah, man, I like
yeah,
that.
Man, yeah,
Yes.
we will rise again.
We will rise
no matter
again.
what we've been through, brother, we are the rise, and we just need to come together, bro, and just understand and the respect.
Positive,
And definitely, we will rise again. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Gentlemen, there's no doubt. In the prisons, more men. Suicides, more men. Domestic violence, the perpetrators are more men. What is the vision or mission of your organization in trying to assist men in ensuring that they are not falling into that category, the categories that I mentioned there? How could you assist in the fight against crime?
Right. Zachary, crime is a major, you know, I mean, sore in society, a major ill for our society. And sometimes we try to isolate the little issues and treat with it from our standpoint and our vantage point. But crime is everybody's business, you know, and one of our fundamental, you know, approaches would be to treat with those issues from a legal, like we said, legal, spiritual, education, you know, and look at a wholesome, look at the laws, look at a wholesome approach to crime. It is evident that our young men, our men, form the bigger population, the bigger percentage of persons, you know, with crime issues, and that is one of our motivators to deal with it. We are not going to reinvent the wheel. We don't intend to, undo something that is happening. They have laws that things are in place. Dude, ours is about educating. Ours is about uplifting the man to let him know his space. And even when if you do something wrong, the system is in place for your punishment, or you leave out your sentence. You have to come back into our society. And that's where we want to treat and deal with you. Coming back now, you come in as a changed individual, and you have somewhere to go to, because you may have fallen, into a life of crime because of you didn't have the opportunity, you didn't get the chance, to be helped. You did not get the help. You did not get the help. So, as it is, we are going to discuss it, but we have to do it from a scientific standpoint. We have to put the science, put everything on the table, and let us deal with it. Let us talk about it and stop the hypocrisy, stop the isolating, and stop it, and look at crime as a collective, and let us see how we could best reduce, especially the male population. Just before Mr. Wicks jump on, you have recidivism, and it speaks to what the stats will show you, anger, in crimes against each other, chopping, and let me tell you, those persons who thrive and who make real money on the ills, they get into the youth before the system gets to the youth, brother. So they indoctrinate the youth before we do what we have to do the right way. And we just talk about it, and we're failing as a people. So we need to step up what we're doing and treat with it. So our movement intend to partner with all agencies that are responsible and see how best we could bring some kind of resolve and some kind of reduction to that. And if you do fall short, you have somewhere to go to and where we can treat it as a movement.
Mr. Wicks?
Right. You've kind of put it in a nice little synopsis. One of the things I think that is necessary is, again, we hope that this movement can provide an option. When I'm angry, is there somebody I can talk to? Is there a place I can go for a cooling out period? Is there some, that kind of thing? Men find it very difficult to talk to women. I don't know why. We know why. But but if we can get them to have confidence in talking to another man who's prepared to help, and the system is there, the support system is there, then chances are we can save some of them. We may not be able to save everybody, but there will be some people who will have a second thought about committing a crime or committing suicide or harming themselves or harming somebody else, or moving to extreme chemical balances and so on, imbalances, and so using all kind of drugs and this kind of thing. So that we need to have in place as an option for people to be able to talk. I remember when I was doing some research on this earlier, I was looking at the way one of those movements worked, and they had not a 24-hour hotline, a 24-hour walk-in, Zachary.
Walk-in?
Yes. A place where you can walk in. Any man can walk in at any time.
At any time?
Yes.
If he has an issue?
Yes. And that's what I was saying about if we have men who are ready to give them of their time, and then you could maybe have a 12-hour or 14-hour. We may not have to do 24 hours. But just imagine you feel in a kind of way at 8:30 in the night, and this is the time you need to speak to somebody. Is it possible for you to find someone you can have a face-to-face conversation with? Look at a movie, look at something, instead of just on the phone, if we can make it, we can start with the hotline, but I would love to see us being able to have that face-to-face contact, give them an option.
Especially in matters of the heart, like you're saying, especially in matters of the heart. Yeah. Gentlemen, relationships, men normally don't have a place that they could go to. They don't know who to turn to.
Yeah.
And then we have suicides.
Yeah.
We have the domestic violence. Let me just read before we just open up the lines, I received a very interesting message. And thank you, viewers. So I'm going to read your message. And then we're going to get a response from our panel. Good evening to you and your guest, sir. I believe our system and some of our laws need a major overhaul, because most times you find the law ruling in favor of women, especially when it comes to custody of children. From my experience, the system has a way to punish me from spending time with my son and keeping him away from me. But mind you, I love my son very much, and I go over and beyond to take care of him. Not being able to spend father and son moments with my son, especially at his age, breaks me physically and emotionally, and it really hurts me. Let's rally together for equal rights. Thank you. Equal rights and justice for men and women alike. That's a view right there. Reactions?
It's real. It's real.
Yeah.
But Zach, in what we do, our profession, you see so many people come and make reports. You know, and you know that, I mean, the primary care of a child, you know, I mean, is that of the mother, you know, outside of marriage and everything, is the mother. So you have, you know, the system and some persons, because men are hurting emotionally and otherwise, and they want access to some, especially their children and stuff. And guess what? You know, the system just debars them from or make it difficult for them to do it, and they are hurting. You spoke about suicides. Let me tell you, a lot, and so sad. You know, in recent past we've had and some suicides, and what you're hearing, two major issues: financial issues and affairs of the heart. You know, and it is something we need to deal with it, because men have we suffer, there's some machoism, you know, I mean, issues, you know, we have to deal, and we have to, because men, and Mr. Wick said it, we men, some of the issues might be we men, our own issues. So we need to now take that inward introspection, and if you cannot do it, you need a system, we have support to allow you to do it. Take a deep look and see that, because you have health, physical health, you have your mental health, psychologically and otherwise, you have to deal with those things. So, I mean, I really feel the pain, but he's very correct. He's very correct that, and we need to now look at that balance to see how best we could treat those things.
One of the things I think our society is, there's some positive, but our society seems to be going to a place where there's too much negative. You know, we see things in too much of a negative form. And one of the things, I'm going to say this tonight, I don't think we take Gopuel seriously enough in this country.
You take it as a joke, actually.
A joke. It's fun. Laugh at the person.
Laugh at the person.
You know, you're a small boy. No. Too many people have had their lives destroyed because they were unable to get the correct support system from a simple little, what seemed like a little Gopuel. You know? That's a serious thing. It hurts. It hurts. And I heard Martin saying, men have pain. And I think Gopuel pain is probably one of the, it's just as, or even worse than,
than probably getting a little heat or a punch from another meal.
Oh yeah, or even childbirth.
Oh my God, I don't know if the ladies would agree.
That's why I went there. No, but it's a deep mental, it's a mental anguish. Yeah. A mental anguish. And the society has not helped, you know. Even up to arresting officers sometimes. But of course. When, you know, they laugh at that. Yeah. You know, they laugh at it.
It's not good, guys.
Man, a woman leave you. And it's not so. It's not so. Men have come, and I've heard men in discussion give some of their, you know, their experiences with, you know, after having been jilted or they, you know, or something. And it is serious business. Men have gone 5-6 days without eating. You know, they cannot even drink pong water. They pace up and down in the house, you know. I'm not saying women don't feel that too. Yeah. But men have a tendency to be very, 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 you know, I don't know, very low. Right. When, you know, in terms of the tolerance and so on. And they feel, you know, like it's all over when it comes to, we have to take Gopuel more serious than it really is. Yeah. It is a serious thing, and we have to see it as it is, and we have to set up mechanisms by which men can come and talk about that.
Right.
And allow themselves, to get healing. And that's the other thing where the spiritual thing comes in.
It's
sometimes
very,
it's
important.
you need that spiritual healing. It's not only about the physical aspect of it. The woman just leave you. She didn't just leave you, She took your heart with her. How do you operate without a heart?
That's important.
So you have to get a replacement of your heart. So it's a and I think we have to look at it in a more positive light,
Right.
and try to assist.
Yeah, and as Mr. Wick said, positive, I just want to, big up in our local parlors and the champions, that we have out there, the fathers that we have out there
Yeah.
that are champions, doing very good things, but it gets swams up in all the negativity and everything. So we have
Keep
to
doing it.
Yeah, just keep doing it. We have to champion, those fathers. You have men, that are not biological fathers. But they're the daddies. They're the daddies. And yes, and you have to big them up. You have to, raise them up.
I was just sharing with my wife that, it's so beautiful to see the number of young men, actually taking their kids to kindergarten.
Yes.
Yeah, man,
And,
that's
and
so
preschool.
beautiful,
Yes.
man.
When I'm driving and I see that,
It's true.
I go there, I
Numbers
say,
have
wow,
increased.
Yeah.
man, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And that is being drowned out by all the other
negatives,
things.
all the negatives, yeah. And imagine, there was a lady, she when CIBC used to be where the cooperative league, building is right in the boulevard. And every afternoon, my first daughter when I come from work, I can rush in, to go take my daughter, and I walking in town, I just put on my shoulder, and this lady came to me, I cannot see that man. You swear you alone that make that child, and she was just so amazed. That lady was just beginning. That lady said, my brother, a young man, and let me tell you, that was just, I could never forget those things. And let me tell you something, brother, I can't do without my children, I before my children, yes, I live, but I can't see myself without them, Yeah, honestly,
Okay, we're going to take another short break, very short. When we come back, we're going to get your calls on your WhatsApp messages. Stay tuned to Police Inside.
Why are you suffering from aches, pains, and illnesses? When there's help for you. At Health Service Center, we offer a wide range of treatment that has been scientifically proven to help you with your aches, pains, and illnesses. Our ICT machine is one of the most effective devices in the health field. It has shown positive results in many health problems, such as back pains, shoulder pains, migraine headaches, pain in the knees and legs, poor circulation, arthritis, diabetic neuropathy, numbness in the feet, strokes and sports injuries. ICT, repairs, rebuild. The power to heal, the future of pain relief.
McDowell Supplements, an effective way to ensure you and your loved ones are getting the daily recommended intake of essential vitamins, minerals, and other important nutrients necessary for optimal health. Naturally, we carry an array of health and wellness supplements. McDowell's Immune Booster enhances your body's defense to fight colds and flu, boosts your immune system, prevents viruses and other airborne diseases. McDowell's Colon Cleanser prevents constipation, helps in removing toxins from the colon, detoxifies the body, and regulates your bowel movements. McDowell's Prostate Health prevent the enlargement of the prostate, improve urinary flow, and reduce frequent urination, especially at night. Moringa oleifera capsules are rich in minerals like calcium, potassium, zinc, magnesium, iron, and copper, vitamins like beta-carotene of vitamin A, vitamin B such as folic acid, vitamin C, D, and E. McDowell's Potassium Complex, used for treating and preventing low potassium levels, high blood pressure, preventing stroke, and aid in weight loss. McDowell's Triple Magnesium relaxes the muscles, relieves cramps and helps to control high blood pressure, improves sleep, and can calm the nerves. Magnesium is very important for the normal functioning of cells, nerves, muscles, bones, and the heart. McDowell's ginger turmeric helps to relieve pain, decrease nausea and enhance the immune function to help protect against illness and infection. Ginger turmeric has powerful anti-inflammatory properties and improves your circulation. Don't hold health back. Let health strike back. McDowell's, the better way to start your health. Visit Health Service Center, John Compton Highway, call 453-6417. Let your wellness be our stress.
Aging gracefully is the hope for everyone. But when you age prematurely, most people think that something is wrong with you. The natural enzymes and building blocks in your skin start to deplete, so fine or deep lines and wrinkles appear, making you look much older than you really are. At DermaClinic, we can help repair your skin and change the way you look in minutes. These treatments will make you look younger. At DermaClinic, we treat all kinds of skin problems, such as facial lines, dark circles around the eyes, crow's feet, and frown lines, using all-natural hyaluronic acid filler. So maintain and improve your facial appearance. For more information, call 453-6417 or 485-9818.
Protocols for international visitors while in St. Lucia. The following protocols are established to guide the stay of all guests while on island in order to mitigate any possible spread of infection. During the first 14 days, visitors are allowed to patronize approved beaches, restaurant, sea and land excursions, and sites and attractions. All visits are scheduled and pre-arranged by their respective accommodation providers. During this period, all visitors will be transported to and from the certified sites using only COVID-19 certified tourism transportation. After the first 14 days, if any visitor wishes to stay on island beyond the 14-day period, they must apply for and receive a health clearance certificate from the Ministry of Health. Visitors will be allowed to travel, be out in the wider public and patronize local businesses unsupervised once health clearance certificates have been received. During their entire stay, visitors must wear their masks whenever they are in public places and maintain the mandatory 6 feet distancing from others.
You're watching MBC.
Welcome back to Police Insight. Your host here, Sergeant Zachary Hippolyte. In studio, Mr. Martin Weeks and Mr. Martin James. We're going to put the number up on the screen, 4533911, 4533911, or you could WhatsApp me, 7200401, 7200401. We have our first caller for the night. Good night, caller. Good night, caller.
Hello.
Hello, good night, caller.
Yes, good night.
Talk to me.
Good night, Mr. Zachary and your panel. Yeah, good night.
Good night. Don't listen to your device, just talk to me.
I think that what I'm going to say, goes out to Mr. Martin James. I would like to know what is happening to Kimberly De Leon's case because the family is awaiting answers. And every time you hear soon, but soon is no soon and too far.
Okay, caller.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, caller. You wish to respond?
Well, it was directed at me.
Okay.
What I could say is, caller, thank you very much for tuning in and thank you for your question. I don't have any information on that, because I mean that is ahead of me, that is behind. I mean, it is not within my reach, but it is something that I share your pain, and I share your same question as well, because it is very important for us, especially as a police force, to get closure and the individuals involved, to get closure in that as well. So we really understand and we feel the pain, but yes. I cannot answer your question directly, yes. But I would definitely want to see closure in that.
Yeah, and I don't want some individuals believe that when certain things occur where it involves our colleagues, it bears on our mind, because we work with those individuals, so we're hoping, caller, that there will be closure, that there will be some form of statement. The investigation is going on. Trust me, we want closure in this situation and all other situations where some of our colleagues have been under the scrutiny of may have committed an offense or not. So trust me. I have a question here from the WhatsApp texting platform. This question is for Mr. Martin James again. Will your movement offer counseling for men, especially those who abuse their wives? Must be a wife.
Okay. Well, to answer that question is a big yes. It's a big yes, because we have so many persons, and maybe we should have said we have so many persons behind the scenes, so many persons who are willing to assist. We have psychologists, we have clinical psychologists, we have dentists, we have musicians, we have just all the professionals are willing to assist. There are some persons that really cannot do what we are doing, Mr. Weeks said. They don't want to be in the limelight. They don't want to be in the face, of the public. But we will be offering it. And as I tell you, our structure, we're just trying to formalize that structure to get it happening. So now we could offer all those services. All those services.
Okay, let's take that call. Good night, caller.
Hi, good night.
Good night, ma'am.
Say good night to Mr. Martin James. Mr. Martin Weeks.
Okay.
Good night.
Okay, I want to say first of all, I'm happy that you actually come out, out there speaking about it. Because I think I remember you saying you have a men's human resource center. And I think it's about time you had that, because when you see what's going on in the young guys, young boys, children, 9 years old, with no kind of guidance, nobody to set them on the right track, because sometimes they have no fathers around. Grown men killing themselves sometimes over nothing. I think that the fact that you are coming out of a resource center for men is one of the best things that you can do, because I feel there are lots of people out there that really need that kind of assistance. Because the only avenue to meet the men have is the bars. They have nowhere they can go and stick to, whereby women have places where they can go to, where they can get help, they can get assistance, guidance, and all sorts of things. But with men, it's not that easy. So I think you should not stop there. I think you should be able to get all the support you need, because if we don't have something like that, there are lots, because we know lots and lots of our sons, our brothers, our nephews, all kinds. So I think you should get the greatest support you'll have to get. You're supposed to get, and I'm wishing you all the best.
Thank you.
Mr. James, please, cast an eye on my Ricky and him from here, please.
Ricky?
Bissett.
Ricky Bissett, is that a police officer?
No, Mr. James knows him.
Oh. Yes, yes, indeed.
You know.
Yes. Thank you very much for your kind words. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I have a message here. Please invite the commissioner to your show someday. Well, he's been on the show, and we'll invite him again, definitely. As a matter of fact, Mr. Wayne Shari, the Deputy Commissioner of Police, is scheduled to appear on the show on the 29th, I think, of this month. We have a message.
That's the day before the election. No?
Yeah. We have a message here. Do you think, gentlemen, do you think businesses are doing enough to observe days like Father's Day?
Well, you're asking what we think. I actually think not enough, because a lot more could be done, especially with what we are saying. Fathers in particular. We need to celebrate fatherhood and celebrate the man. We need to do it a little more. So I mean, I must say kudos to businesses that put out, all. Yeah, yeah, they put a lot of stuff out, for fathers, and they say Father's Day, and the sales and things of that nature. But a lot more could be done, and I think we want to focus really on the empowerment, brother. We need to focus more on the empowerment. But I think a lot more could be done.
But I think we also have a disconnect with understanding that the perception of the father the father role has evolved. Because when you look at some of those businesses, most times you think of discounts on tools, on electronics and stuff like that. There are fathers that are not into tools and electronics, people.
That's right.
You understand? So I think it's definitely a disconnect. Let me see. I have a message here. Oh, well, that's almost close to what the first...
I think we can claim equality when we get Sunday jazz, like Mother's Day.
Oh, okay. We wanted to. We want something like that. We want
Father's Day,
like
Sunday jazz.
Yeah.
Mr. Weeks, this one is aimed at you. Are men doing better, in your opinion, are men doing better than the men of 20 years ago when it comes to children welfare, child welfare?
But there are so many areas of if I say yes, you may say, you may be able to point out one thing that they're not doing that used to happen before. But I was thinking of that today, and I was saying to myself, why it appeared that the fathers of long ago appeared to be doing much better is because the mothers were different. The mothers were different. The mothers did everything and only called the father to discipline or put on a strong or comfort.
Yes.
Everything else was done by the mother, including the giving of love and everything, But now there's more of a demand for the man to be involved in more important things in children's lives, because some of the mothers cannot do it themselves, because mothers were at home all the time, not at work, and so the whole structures have changed. But I think there are lots of men now in our society who are committed to play a better role in the development of their children.
I know for sure I am.
Yeah, yes. And I know a lot of young men who have. But sometimes it becomes very difficult, because there's a saying that if you don't have something, it's very difficult for you to give it.
Yes.
But that's what I think a movement like ours can do. You think you're not reaching out in a very spiritual way or warm way to your children because you didn't get it. Is it possible for you to learn it? At that stage, you're now 30, 40, can you still learn it so you can now pass it on, instead of, letting the cycle continue of inability to give to children the warmth and the support that they need? Because it's not all about discipline. And even that itself is an issue. How you discipline your child is a serious issue now in society. Firstly, you've got to do it in a way that, and you hear all kind of biblical quotations that support, beating children or, spare a rod and all, spoil a child. There's so many things. Yes. So you have to find a common ground that allows you to be both a disciplined person, but yet still loving and caring to the child. Because they're gifts from God. I always say that a child is a gift from God. You've got to treat him or her in the way that God wants you to treat them.
And if I may just add, Mr. Weeks, in terms of social welfare, you have men, you have to take them before the courts, to meet their commitment, their financial commitment. But some of them, if they renege on that, you send them to prison. And hear what I'm saying. Even in sending them to prison because they have faltered and what have you, there should be some form, because the children are suffering. If they work in there, that money should still go back to the child, something to that effect. So even with those things, they must have a clear and precise way, and even a modernized way, of causing that child, because you're actually creating monsters, and you don't want that for our society.
And there's so many things that go on, Martin, for instance, even that you mentioned, men who withhold monies from the children for so many different reasons. they want to have sex with the woman doesn't want them anymore, so they punish the children.
Right.
You know, so many reasons why they want the mother doesn't want them, so the children suffer. You know, so even that we have to investigate and see what is it that makes a man, you know, behave that way towards his child. You know, what you know, why isn't he more compassionate towards his child? Why would he want not to pay the child, you know, this kind of a way?
But you know what's amazing, gentlemen? We've got 2 phone calls there, and they're from women, huh?
Yes.
We also have a statement from a woman, Miss Stephanie Cauldron. Good night to you. Men must learn to love and take care of themselves first, and thereafter look after their families. Honesty, responsibility, communication, trust, and stability is the key. They must also give priority to visit a doctor at least every year for a general checkup.
Yes, that is part of, that will be definitely part of our education and awareness. Those things. Thank you very much, Stephanie, for that.
Thank you.
That would form part of our program.
Because we have doctors on board, you know,
Yes.
female like male.
And you're quite right. Health has been one of the areas where men have neglected themselves tremendously. Some of it is out of fear, some of it is out of ignorance, some of it is because of the machoism that, you know. I remember my mom used to call my dad Superman because
Never got the
he
doctor.
never went to the doctor. He never, you know, whenever he got a cold or whatever, he just went and get his bush, you know, and drank his tea and took care of himself, you know. But now the society has evolved, you know, with all different kinds of diseases, so that doesn't always work. So we have to have a relationship with our medical doctors. Men must keep checking themselves.
I'd like to say good night to ASP Curtis Roberts. Good night to you, sir. You're tuned in.
Good night, brother.
I have another, more like a statement. Gentlemen, I believe men have received the short end of the stick for the longest while when it comes to relationships. There is this perception that men cheat, and men are the ones who cheat. But who do men cheat with? Do they cheat with goats? And the women equally as culpable in this cheating affair? Okay,
Statement.
It's a statement. You have the reaction.
A statement. You know, I think, and then it speaks to the gender, you know, issues that we are facing. You know, whilst we are speaking about men, it's Father's Day and things of that nature, we need to look at, you know, the issues. Gender,
but you see, even in us fighting to see men better is really to get men and women to live more harmoniously together. So it's a gender thing.
Yes,
you know, it's to see the strength of you know, relationships, marriages, and grow because men are now better. You know, it's not for men, you know, just to be more empowered, you know, to do crazy things like cheat. You know,
and you cannot do it by yourself. You know, I mean, men cannot do it alone. We need the women. Because I mean, and we have to big up the champion wives out there as well. You know, and partners. You know, the champion. You know that stand by theirs. You know, stand by theirs.
I realize the men are more texting and the ladies call. I don't understand. I have another message here.
I hope we can reverse that.
This one is directed at. Oh, here we go. At Mr. Martin Weeks. Good day, good night, sir. Do you think women can play a better role in the support of men, especially men with issues, given that most times when a man is in love, he's deeply in love with a woman? Do you think, what more can women do in supporting men?
Well, I always say the sky's the limit when it comes to love, you know. But even when women love men, they love up to the physical. If you don't transcend your love to become a unconditional, yes, you know, it has to be a spiritual. There must be a spiritual dimension to your love, because you'll reach a limit in the physical plane, you know, especially if your love is more of a erotic, you know, eros love. So you have to be this. You have to get to that unconditional love. And some women are not capable of doing that, and some men aren't, you know. That's why whenever my wife and I, whenever we used to do marriage encounter, and so we always say that it's almost impossible. Even the Bible tells you that the two of you become one, you know, but in that one, God must be there somewhere, in the middle of it. You know, so when I go through you, to you, I go through God, and when you come, you know, so God has to be. So this is the other dimension of because you can only do as much as you can on the physical plane. There must be that spiritual realm to your love and your relationship.
I have a message here. Thank you, viewer. You've posted a message on the Facebook platform. There are officers who know the law regarding child maintenance, yet they do not live up to their responsibility. Then they turn to other men who are trying hard to support their kids, and because they are in default of payment, treat them like criminals. I know some time ago we had the RIT department here, and as a matter of fact, imagine, gentlemen, just this morning, there's an individual who reached out to me on Facebook, and she stated it's almost a year. She doesn't know what to do anymore. She has gone to the Viewford police station because she signed a warrant a whole year, and she believes she made an allegation that a particular officer, who I'll not mention his name, who's a senior officer, is very close buddy with her child father, and up to now she cannot get service on the man, and the warrant is in the amount of $6,000.
Wow. I'm certainly sure you would advise her to go to the commission or do something. And I think honestly, I mean, it's painful hearing that. You understand? It's very painful hearing that. But sometimes, I mean, you understanding the situation, it might not be as presented to you.
Yes.
But a situation like that must never happen, and we must implore our colleagues, you know, to do the best that we can, do what we have to do. We are being paid by the state.
That's
we
right.
have a responsibility, and we're not supposed to renege on that. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, but I want to big up, you know, I mean, the DPP's office. You know, we have friends in there. You know, I know he probably don't want me to mention his name. You know, but you know himself. Big up. I'm Sergeant Alphonse at the traffic and all. You know, my team. You know, Chief B at the Central Police Station, the Royal Central Police Band, Mr. Dylan St. Jules, ASP Dylan St. Jules. You know, I mean, Inspector Ronald Felino and all the sergeants. You know, by extension, the entire crew. 74 years on Friday, and we're looking forward to the 75th. You know, big up.
We're almost out of time, but I have the last. I think I'll take this last message. I'd like to say good night to Miss Patricia Bissett Modest. Good night to you, ma'am. And
my cousin.
Yeah, your cousin. Well, she has a statement here, my brother. Okay. She says, very good program. Tell the men they can come to the SLPPA to check their prostate. But Martin, if men do not love themselves, they can never show or express love to their partners. Men do not like to pay cock tax.
Yeah, well, you can't that's a kind of statement, you know. That's a kind of statement.
Yeah,
we have to do what we have to do. You know, we have to first off our spiritual connection to that higher authority. We need to ensure that it is in place and it is in sync with humanity. It is in sync with what we do, and everything else will fall in line. Trust me, everything else will fall in line, and we just have to do what we have to do. You know.
So, gentlemen,
pay what you have to pay, guys.
So, final words, Mr. Martin Mix, let's start with you.
Right. The final words I have is I want it to be a word of encouragement for all fathers who are committed to firstly loving themselves, like you say, and also trying their best to make the best of their marriages, make the best of their fatherhood, make the best of, you know, whether it's, it doesn't necessarily have to be a biological father, but grandfathers can give a lot of love. And so I want to, you know, ask them to continue to do that, because the world needs a lot of that, you know. Allow your children to speak to you, you know, on a level, you know, respectfully, and you speak to them. Always leave the lines of communication open. Do not give up. That's one of the things. Too many young men give up too early because the results are not coming quickly. It does not come easy. Love is not, you know, a snap. It takes hard work and commitment. So I want to wish all of them very happy Father's Day, and may God continue to bless you, and you take care of the gifts that He has given you.
Mr. James.
Okay. Thank you. I mean, Zachary. I want to say, You know, a happy Father's Day to all fathers, and in particular my father, you know, my grandfather, and my grandfathers, and they're still in the land of living, and I'm so grateful for that. They have some persons celebrating Father's Day or looking at Father's Day, and they're missing, you know, their fathers. So I'm grateful for that, and I'm happy for that. I want to say big up to my family, you know, I mean, my wife on my side, my children, and things that have me being a father, and a proud father, you know, and even more proud father, you know, at that. We have a team of individuals who have committed the efforts to this movement. I must say thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And all those persons who have reached out, you know, our international friends and all those persons, I want to say thank you very much for that. A word of encouragement, you know, your spirituality comes first and everything else comes after. Everything else comes after. Be true to thyself. To thy own self be true, that thou shalt not be false to no man. You know, and that's just it. Be true to thyself. Thank you very much, Zachary, and thank you very much.
Thank you to the two distinguished Martins. It was another excellent episode, very important, lots of information. I'd like to thank you for all those who call, those who texting platform, and also the Facebook streaming platform. Happy Father's Day to all fathers, stepfathers, guardian males out there. You're doing a great job. Just continue doing a great job and stay safe. Good night. See you next Tuesday.
Boost your commercial success with NBC TV and NBC